This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 2242, Surviving and Thriving When You're Far Away from Those You Love, by Dr. Margaret Rutherford of drmargaretrutherford.com. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to a brand new week of ORD. I'm your host and narrator, Greg Audino. Excited to start a new week with you, especially this time with a post on hand from the ever-insightful Dr. Margaret Rutherford. Let's hear her thoughts on making the most out of long-distance relationships of all kinds as we get into the article now and optimize your life. Surviving and Thriving When You're Far Away from Those You Love, by Dr. Margaret Rutherford of drmargaretrutherford.com. In the technological dark ages of my youth, when the phone would ring, Dad would pick it up. I'd hear him shout to my mom, "Hey, Bet, quick! Get on the phone. It's Adam calling long distance." Mom would come flying. A long-distance call costs a lot of money, so the message must be very important for a loved one to phone unexpectedly. Usually the news was happy, but sometimes that caller needed comfort or quick information. Now long distance has nothing to do with urgency. In fact, it's routine. You're a couple whose jobs require frequent trips to Chicago or India. Your daughter headed to Paris for her senior trip, or your son has a construction job in Brazil. The reality of normal family life frequently means that you're trying to maintain close ties with parents, children, grandchildren, and let's not forget friends who are far away. Technology, however, isn't enough. Technology makes all of that easier, of course. Between FaceTime, Zoom, WhatsApp, Skype, Instagram, or Snapchat, you can keep in close touch. Furthermore, you can see each other while you keep those conversations going. But it isn't enough. The pandemic brought that home with a vengeance. Bear hugs weren't possible over Facebook. Hands couldn't be held via Zoom. Snuggles weren't possible on WhatsApp. We couldn't be there for one another at the most difficult nor the most joyful times. Now we're more back to normal. So I've come up with 4 core beliefs that can help to maintain a relationship's warmth and depth, while simultaneously managing its inherent vulnerability. And by the way, I am quite familiar with this dilemma. I moved away from home when I was 17 years old. My adult son lives hundreds of miles away from us, and many of my best friends live in different cities. So I know what it's like to be separated from people I care about, surviving and even thriving through it all. 4 skills to keep long-distance relationships thriving. Number 1. Let the time you have together be whatever it shapes up to be. Avoid the impulse to think, "This weekend has to be perfect," or the infamous, "I have to cook all his favorite things," because you actually may not know his favorite things anymore. Maybe he's trying out vegan, or she no longer drinks chai tea. Don't force things. Prioritize what's most important, but be flexible about the rest. Enjoy being together while you have the chance, allowing the moments to evolve naturally. Remind yourself that if you try to make everything special, you might miss normal. Number 2, realize that celebrations can happen any day. You can perform incredible Cirque du Soleil-like twists and turns and demand that others do the same in trying to make a certain celebration or event happen when it's quote-unquote supposed to happen. Obviously, if it's something that only happens once, it makes sense to do all you can to be there, front and center, smiling and applauding. However, long-distance relationships can thrive if you adjust your expectations and realize that holidays or birthdays can be celebrated on whatever day that you can be together. It's the togetherness that matters, whenever you can make that happen. Number 3, don't compare yourself to others. Maybe your best friend has her daughter and grandchildren living a couple of blocks away, but yours is on the other side of the country, expecting her first child. Or perhaps your neighbor has all of his siblings and their children over every Friday for a huge family gathering, while your siblings are scattered around the world and you haven't all been together in over a decade. It's difficult to not compare your situation to others, to mourn or even envy what you don't have in the face of others having it. Social media can make this harder to ignore. But as the old saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And the best thing to do is avoid the bitterness and make peace with what you have and what is possible. And number 4, make sure you don't let too much time go by without some form of contact. The marvelous thing about technology today is the incredible variety of communication you can have with someone. From ordering flowers for no special reason, to asking Alexa to turn on lights as your partner gets home, to the arrival of a candygram, all can celebrate the quality of your caring. I know a couple who have been together for many years, the first 3 of which were long distance. They swear that the key to the longevity of their relationship is that due to being physically apart, they learned how to communicate well with each other. They took advantage of their non-ideal situation and laid a strong foundation for their relationship that has lasted decades. Every relationship requires a loving touch from time to time, and relationships need nurturing no matter what the distance involved. So you want to be aware and do your part to keep the fire of the relationship fueled. That's true for all relationships, no matter how often you see each other in person. You just listened to the post titled, Surviving and Thriving When You're Far Away from Those You Love, by Dr. Margaret Rutherford of drmargaretrutherford.com, and I'll be back momentarily with my comments. And thanks so much to Dr. Margaret for this one, a post that I'm sure most of us can relate to, whether we have partners, children, friends, or other extended family who live far away. She offered a lot of wisdom in this post, as she always does. But one critical point that lies beneath the cracks of this article is that we also must be prepared to respond if the person we care about who lives far away has not heard this episode or considered these ideas. We must be able to remain patient should these people compare your relationship to others, or get pigeonholed into thinking that celebrations need to happen on the day, or have specific ideas of how the time in person should go. It's critical to remain understanding of this and show them compassion while still sticking to our principles. Reassure them if you need to, that you love them no matter what the time together looks like, when the celebrations occur, and regardless of how your relationship might look compared to those who have similar relationship dynamics. One of the most important parts of personal development, I think, is the ability to show this type of love and understanding to those who have not done the same work that we have. So, think about that today, folks. It's time to get out of here, but I thank you for your time. I thank you for your listenership, your devotion to the show. We could not do it without you, needless to say. So have a great rest of your day and start to your week, and I'll see you tomorrow for more ORD, where your optimal life awaits.